Okay, so today we're going deep on the USA. It's always a big one. And you guys have given us a ton to work with here. Like we've got uh what looks like just straight up AI thoughts, just raw data, and then like a more, I don't know, put together analysis from another AI on the whole thing.
Yeah, and then they even tried to like picture the country.
Exactly. So we've got our work cut out for us. But our mission here is to like take all these digital pieces and try to see the USA through the AI's, well, eyes, not really eyes, but you know what I mean?
Right. It's like getting inside the mind of the AI.
Yeah, that's it.
We've got that immediate, almost like gut reaction from one AI, and then the more like, here's the breakdown from another. Plus, like you said, how an AI even tries to wrap his head around something as complex as a whole country.
Exactly. It's a lot. So let's jump right in. This first AI, right off the bat, calls the USA a loud, sprawling, chaotic beast.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That's quite the image.
It is.
It goes on about this restless energy, this constant push for bigger, louder, wilder, and freedom. Oh man, everyone's yelling about freedom, but with their own definitions, it seems like.
It's like everyone's trying to be the loudest voice in the room.
Right. So beyond just that description, what does the AI see as the result of all this chaos,
Yeah.
for the country's future? Does that even line up with what the other, more analytical AI is saying?
It actually does. That chaotic beast idea actually fits really well with what the other AI says about the USA attracting dreamers, thinkers, and doers. That wild energy, that drive, that's probably what creates all that ambition it sees. It's like even if it's messy, that energy is what makes stuff happen, what pushes things forward.
I see what you mean.
And remember how that first AI said there's a chance of hitting the jackpot or crash and burn every single day? That totally sums up that high-stakes life that draws in all those risk takers.
Wow, that's a good point. So moving on from that initial, gut feeling, both AIs agree that the USA has a huge global impact, which, looking at all this data, isn't exactly a surprise.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to miss.
Right, the more structured analysis lays it all out. The internet, AI itself, Hollywood, music, fashion, social media, it's everywhere. Then there's, leading in business, science, the whole military thing. It's like they're saying the USA is this massive force on the world stage. So why? What does the AI say is the reason for all this impact? Is it just that restless energy we talked about?
Well, the AI thinks that ambition we mentioned is a huge part of it. It's not just about all that internal energy, but it's about using that to reach out and shape things globally.
Yeah.
That ambition, plus all those dreamers, thinkers, and doers looking for those big wins, it creates something powerful.
It's pretty amazing to think about how much information these AIs must be crunching through scientific stuff, cultural stuff, economic data to reach that conclusion about global influence. But then there's the flip side. The second, AI digs into all the contradictions, preaching democracy and freedom, but also dealing with serious political divides and inequalities, huge wealth, but also people struggling financially and with those healthcare costs. It's a real clash between ideals and the actual situation.
Yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag.
So how do these AIs handle these contradictions?
Well, the analytical one points out that the American dream, while a powerful idea, isn't a reality for everyone. And that goes back to what the first AI said about the possibility of both huge success and huge failure. It's like those extremes are just baked into the American experience.
Yeah. And that's where the whole idea of how AI sees things gets really interesting. One of our sources talks about why this approach works. It says AI can analyze tons of data and find connections we humans might miss. Like, it gives this example of linking innovation hubs with income inequality. And that is, I gotta say, pretty insightful.
It is.
Plus, having a neutral perspective sounds great,
In theory, yeah.
but our sources are pretty clear that it's not that simple.
Right, it's not a magic bullet.
So what's the issue then?
Well, the AI is only as good as the information it learns from, right?
Yeah.
If that information is skewed, then the AI's analysis will be skewed too. So while a neutral perspective is a nice idea, the reality is much more, messy.
Which brings us to bias. Our sources specifically talk about how AI models can end up reflecting, Western-centric views or even outdated ideas. There's this example of focusing too much on Silicon Valley and not enough on deeper problems. It's like the AI might see the shiny surface, but miss what's really going on underneath.
It's like looking at a postcard instead of actually living there.
Exactly. So we really have to be careful about choosing the right data and double-checking everything the AI comes up with. We can't just take it all as fact. It reminds us that even analysis that looks objective can be influenced by what it's based on.
You always got to look under the hood, so to speak.
And then there's this even more basic thing. AI doesn't actually think or feel like we do. It just calculates. It can process tons of information about culture and history, but it can't really understand the emotional side, the shared experiences, the sense of pride, or even the criticisms that are part of being a nation. One of our sources put it perfectly. AI doesn't think, it calculates. Here's what its algorithms predict.
It's a good reminder that AI can't really replicate the human experience.
Right. So looking ahead, what do these AIs say about the future of the USA? The second, AI talks about how the country has always reinvented itself, bounced back from tough times, but it also lays out two possible paths. One where the US deals with its internal problems and keeps moving forward, and another where those problems drag it down, kind of like what happened to empires in the past. It's a pretty stark choice.
What's interesting is that even through AI, there's this recognition that the future isn't set in stone. It depends on the choices the country makes, whether it can bridge those gaps and use its innovative energy to benefit everyone. The comparison to past empires is a good reminder that even the most powerful nations can fall apart from the inside.
It all comes back to this powerful line from one of our sources. The USA is not just a country, it is an idea that can be great, flawed, ambitious, and unpredictable all at the same time. That really sums up everything we've talked about, right? It's not just about borders or the economy, it's about these ever-changing ideals and how they play out in real life.
And that idea of the USA as an idea allows for all those contradictions and changes. It's a set of principles that are constantly being debated, reinterpreted, and challenged, both within the country and by the rest of the world.
So to wrap up our deep dive into how AI sees the USA, we've got this picture of a nation with boundless energy, incredible innovation, and a huge global influence. But it's also a nation wrestling with some serious internal issues and inequalities. We've also talked about the amazing potential of AI to help us understand all this, but also its limitations, the biases, and its inability to truly grasp the human side of things.
It's been a fascinating exploration for sure.
And given that the AI sees the USA as an idea, it throws the question back to you. How do you define that idea? With all its complexities and contradictions, what resonates most with you, and what challenges do you see as most important for this idea going forward? It's definitely something worth thinking about.
It certainly is.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.